Hey, friends. I've been thinking about something today, um, and as usual, it sort of tethers into a number of areas of my life. And I was I was reflecting on what I was reflecting on how I go about pursuing things in my life, and it's a it's one of these things where it's almost like there's a meta pattern to my overall approach. And I can sometimes be frustrated by that or feel like that's a restriction, feel like that's something I need to work on or fix. But if I really get in touch with the underlying kind of energetic posture that I'm taking in any instance of that, I'm thinking about the various practices that I have, including the practice of working with my daughter on her music. Um, I've just been looking at how I approach all of life basically, and seeing this kind of this very fixated mode that I get into. Fixated is the wrong word. It's really sort of a commitment. I make a commitment. And sometimes I think the reason that a word like fixated came out of me is because I can make a commitment and then get to a place where it's almost like, is the right commitment? Is this taking me the way I want to go? And, you know, what I have learned over time is that, first of all, if I need to make changes, I generally will. It might take me a while. I might move slowly, but I do move. And overall, in the bigger picture, my commitments get better. I make better and better commitments to better and better things, things that I more and more believe in. I'm less prone to devote my time and energy to things that don't feel valuable, and I'm more prone to devote my time and energy to things that do feel valuable. And of course, there's some subjectivity to that because when we're 20 years ago, the whole picture felt different. So of course, I was doing different things, but I would say that I'm aligning more and more closely with a core sense of this is what's important in life. And as that plays out in individual domains, I find that I tend to make long-term commitments, long and pretty loyal commitments. And I've grown to appreciate that more and more because I think when I was younger, I wished for more, I don't know, spontaneity. I don't even know what to call it. I wished for more playfulness. I felt like I was a fuddy-duddy. I felt like I was kind of, not, didn't know how to flow. That was my self-assessment. And so, but then I proceeded to pursue a life that was all about flow and literally improvisation. Like, I got 2 degrees in jazz piano, and subsequently continued to pursue things that sort of created that imperative of being present and being improvisational. This post is an example of my seeking out venues where I'm called upon to express, to think, perform, express, create in the moment with no real capacity to be too premeditated about it. And, funny enough, I've talked also on this post over the last couple of years about how I feel like that's only one part of the picture, because there's another whole part of the picture where I deeply relish very much a premeditated kind of steeping myself in the craft of, for example, classical piano. Something that it's all about preparation and being so fully connected to the thing, to the music being performed, that unlocks creativity, that allows something to flow through the music. But it's not about showing up and just like not knowing the piece or knowing it pretty well, but kind of hoping you're gonna like work it out, which is actually kind of how I used to think about it when I was younger, and it does not work. That is not how you find creativity. It's not even really how you find creativity in improvised music, but that's for another conversation. But anyway, I think what's happening and what has been sort of showing up for me over the last couple of days is I'm willing to make peace with that aspect of myself. I've felt more and more like I know how to serve via this pattern, and I can be consistent, I can be reliable, I can go the distance. And I like that. That feels good. It feels good to see that. It feels good to know that. Because, I mean, for some obvious reasons, but for, the non-obvious reasons possibly having to do with not always having understood that that's what this particular attribute of my character or of my personality, my approach to life brings. I haven't always known that I bring that, and how much value that thing brings, that kind of willingness / proclivity to approach things that way. I haven't always understood what that offers. And so I'm enjoying that. I'm sort of enjoying the self-acknowledgement that I'm experiencing from seeing the value there. And I'm also sort of looking at there's a core sense of myself that has been coming through. We're listening to a story called Girl Who Drank the Moon, which I know I've quoted on this post before. It's a story, it's a young adult fiction story, kind of a fantasy book about witches and magic, and really great story. The Girl Who Drank the Moon. I would recommend it to adults because the woman who wrote it, Karen Barnhill, I believe, is an incredible writer. I mean, she's as good as they come. And there's a part at the end where one of the characters is a swamp monster, and she's talking about his essence being serene. And for some reason, we're driving out to the vet this evening because our dog ate a piece of plastic and we had to go induce vomiting. He was really happy with us. So we had this half-hour drive out sort of I-40, just out the long way, sort of out of town, to get to our vet. We're listening to the story, and they're talking about the serene. She was talking about the swamp monster's serene essence. And for some reason, what that sparked for me was maybe our essence doesn't change very much. You know, maybe our essence, because that's kind of my experience. My experience is that I have evolved, I've aligned with who I am on a deep level, but I've not changed all that much who I am on a deep level. And it made me think, what if that's everybody's experience? What if when somebody like Sadhguru talks about your essence, the essential nature, and connecting with our essential nature, what if that's why it feels like it hasn't changed much? Because it's as eternal as things get in the plane of existence, where everything is ultimately impermanent. But what if that essence really didn't change all that much, and what we're doing is aligning with it, coming into harmony with it, removing the friction between how we live and the actions, thoughts, and words that we perform, and that essence. So that's kind of what showed up today, is the combination of this recognition of my own way and a sense that I've kind of always been that way. And settling into that, letting that be okay, and more than okay, letting that be embraced. So that's where I am today. Thanks for watching, folks. Appreciate you. Have a great day. I will see you soon.